Hey chat, how we doing today? I am still just getting set up for today's animation. And we have got sneaking on the board today. So we've already done walking, jumping, running, and even crawling. But now we've got to be sneaky. Now I have a lot of... Okay, how is it that there's basically no references for like an adult person crawling on the ground, but there's like 50 billion references for sneaking animations? Like, am I missing something? Did crawling get kicked out of the gang for some reason? I don't know what the deal is. And I have to be really specific about the sneaking references because there's like two different types here. There is your normal sneaking, like the sort of thing you'd imagine if you would like, I don't know, if like you're trying to get somewhere like you're not supposed to be, like ninja sneaking type thing. But then there's the cartoonish sneak, and it's kind of comical. Like I've got references for both and like something roughly in between. So that is something I'm gonna have to look at through here. Alright, so let's get started with this. So the first thing I need is a reference pose. So I've got quite a few to work with here. So the first thing that comes to mind is this specific animation here, this ninja walk animation. I just wish there were more angles of this to give me a better idea of how this character is moving. But I can sort of see it without having to look at all of the angles. So I wish YouTube wouldn't do that fade out thing whenever I was scrolling the bar. So this is the contact pose here. So thankfully this person does... Archie Yev starts on the contact pose and then goes to down, pass, up here, and then contact here again. What is interesting is it seems that the contact pose is not the same on the middle. So this here, the foot stays up on this side, whereas on the initial starting motion, it's already down. So this implies that this character is already in that position from the get-go, and then they're just moving, like they're moving from a standstill position, so to speak. And then we've got this man, Tim Strain, who a little bit more comical. Not exactly what I'm looking for, but the motions of the legs for the most part is sort of what I'm going for here. And like, it's a good reference if you're doing like a cartoonish style movement. Also, I see that he sort of stumbles a bit here. I pull this back a bit. He sort of overbalances on that motion, which is kind of funny, but like it does add more realism if you were doing like a rotoscope of this animation. And then we've got Maker's Treasure Chest here, who actually has a multi-angle... Like, this will probably be closer to what I'm aiming for. Kronk from Emperor's New Groove is a good sneak reference too, is it? Let me have a look, see. Kronk sneaking. I probably need like a video of this. I'm only seeing GIFs. Okay, here we go. I can't show this on screen for obvious reasons, because Disney. But... let's have a look, see here. Through... I see him just mostly moving down the stairs. It's kind of hard to tell because he moves so fast. There's like no good consistent leg movements, but it is... yeah, it does seem to be relatively realistic from what I can tell. And like the bend over with the knee fairly close to the chest is more sort of the style that I'm going for. It's just like whenever you look it up, all it shows is the one image of him pressed up against the wall. So it could be helpful, but it's just not helpful at this moment. It is a really good idea though, thanks Likely. I will keep that one in mind. I wasn't being serious, but let's go. Yeah, there's like a couple of frames where he does show like a semi-realistic sneaking motion, which is probably closer to like this reference here. Although except Kronka's bent over quite a fair bit more. So like you're not wrong technically speaking. Probably mostly mentioned as a joke, but it's always good to look into it just in case. Like sometimes jokes can just be the best way to find out a good way to do something. So the first thing I want to do is find a good contact. Now thankfully this one here actually does have the animation frames at the end of the video, but the only issue is that they have essentially 2 up frames and 1 down frame. So I would class this to be an up frame. This is a down. This is a pass, and this is a second up. Actually, there's like 3 up frames here. What the? I'm sorry? Okay, I'm slightly confused as to the way they've gone about showing this, because if that's a contact frame, that's not the way I'd expect a contact frame for a sneak motion to go. Let's have a look at this guy again. So, like, if I was expecting a contact frame, I'd be expecting something like that to be a contact frame also. That blur is kind of funny. But, like, I'd expect this here to be the contact frame. And then this one here to be the down frame. And then lift into pass. So that would be the pass. This would be the up. And then back into the down frame. So, I don't know what's going on with this one. Like, the actual motion here is fine. It's just I think the contact frames are in a weird position. Well, quote-unquote contact frames. Alright, so... let's see here. I'll probably start with maybe something closer to the ninja walk, maybe. So the body has to be really far down for this one, because the default motion is going to be quite crouched. And force move. I'm going to start hiding these actually. All of these ones. Hide those. Hide the forward kinetic ones, because unlike the crawl animation, I don't think I need them in this case. Hide that lot. Hide this lot for now. In fact, I can just remove all these for now. I only want the legs. Actually, that one as well. And hide all those. So the only things I want to focus on for the moment is the leg motion and the torso motion. So, now the real interesting one here is going to be trying to get this motion here across. So, like, the problem is Minecraft characters don't have toes. And obviously, if you're doing sneaking around, the tendency is that you want to be, like, on the balls of your feet. So, like, again, this guy here is a really good example. Like, the motion here is that you expect it to be on this specific part of the foot, but Minecraft characters don't have that. Well, they do in certain animations, but we don't talk about those animations. The real important thing in here is how am I going to translate this specific foot motion to this character. And I think maybe tilting this back slightly just so that the foot is just a little bit more rolled across is probably the best way to go about this. So, right here, and then the foot here needs to be planted on the ground, but across. GY. In fact, I'll just set this to 0.005 maybe. Actually, no, this isn't correct. Why is that in a weird position? That shouldn't be like that. And then this one here should probably just be straight at 0.5. And then this here, I can just rotate this and... Well, it is going to be slightly off the ground. It's not going to be egregiously bad. I'll just Alt-G and Alt-R this. And then... Why is that? It is in such a weird position, actually. In fact, I'm just going to Alt-G all this for the moment. And unroll those. So I want the foot to be moved negative 0.05 in the Y. So negative 0.5 in the Z. And then same with the other direction. It seems that it does tend to be a little bit strange, but that's fine. Okay, I guess I'm just going to have to get a different position for these. Not the end of the earth, just slightly obnoxious. Say 0.2 meters should be fine. Obviously, I don't want it to be like too far forward, otherwise it's just gonna look strange. Let's see. Why is it... I'm sorry, why is it in the negative... Huh? So if I move this along the Z, that basically doubles the motion that I've got. Well, it did just before. It's not doing it now. I swear, this program gaslights me on a regular basis. Okay, so that should be fine. I just need to move this entire character down. Just to get the feet to stay on the ground. Cool. So that should be a good contact pose. And now I have to do this again. So, alright, so we've got the... contact. Add a new marker. This will be down. Gonna add a new marker here. Make that pass. Marker. Make this up. And then duplicate this, and it should be on frame 13. Although I probably do... I forget that I'm supposed to have these moved along a bit. So... Except this one here specifically needs to be 2. So grab this one across. And this should be on frame 16 for all intents and purposes. Yeah. And then duplicate this. Okay, now that should be in the correct position. Take this to the very end. Copy this, and then V. Why did that one copy? Strange. Oh, it's because I don't have everything selected. That's silly of me. Strange. Why is it? Oh wait, that's renamed to down. Why? Which one is that? Is that the... Oh, that's the foot. How did I manage... Okay, you know what? Foot underscore IK R. Let's put that back in the correct naming convention before I really screw something up. No wonder it wasn't working properly. Am I... Control Shift V? Okay, I guess I was accidentally using the wrong shortcut. And for some reason, my thing is running at 25 frames instead of 30. What could be causing... Oh, it could be the fact that there's so much stuff in the scene. Alright, there is an easy way to fix this. I can just click simplify and set that to 0. So now, if I... Yeah, if I hit that, that stays more consistent. Cool. It's because I have so many of these copied and pasted into the scene. Each one of them has a subdiv modifier on it, I believe, of a level of 2. So if I just click on this and look in here, yeah, there's a subsurf of 2. I don't know exactly why it's got a subsurf, but I'm not gonna fuck around and find out, you know? Sometimes it's better just to leave stuff alone. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, so... Okay, so here's the thing, right? I think I might have messed up my previous animations. I might have to go back and fix them. But the way that I was supposed to have learned how to do this is I was supposed to have the body move. Where is it? So I want this here to be rotated so the foot's actually downwards. If it will let me. But the point is I was supposed to have this foot here move the same distance as this one here. So this one moves... How would I be able to find the difference? That should be easy enough, actually. Hang on, need some water. Sorry, it's just a little burr in my throat. So... I grab this. Copy that. And then... I'm pretty sure... If I add this, it should work. So here, I want to... minus this. So... It seems a little bit strange, but with the addition of additional down motion... Actually, why is this acting the way it is? The way it's supposed to work is that the body moves downwards. in the same motion. And it's supposed to prevent that weird robotic thing I had going on, but it just doesn't seem right. Strange. Regardless, I'm just gonna try and mess about with this. I think maybe actually the way I was doing it previously is fine. So copy that, paste that there. And then here I want the if I try rotating that, it's just gonna clip through the floor though. At the very least, I can get this one to move upwards. And then I want to like really extend this out. And then the upper needs to be like fairly high up. Alright. So that moves across. So I can do for... Where is it? Where's my body center? Okay, so grab these. Copy them. Control V. So it should continue the motion there. So then the foot here needs to be copied. Then Control Shift V to the right. And then here, I believe these ones need to be copied. And then Control Shift V here. So now this should just hopefully loop seamlessly. Okay, cool. The knee tweaks are actually not as bad as they were, although, I could probably stand to move these. Okay, I can probably do this easiest in the graph editor. So, get rid of all these. Now the locations here. I believe it's the Z location I'm supposed to be messing with here. So as long as yeah, okay. So I need to set this to probably 0.2 is probably a bit much. I'm just gonna say 0.15. 0.15. There we go. It's just so that the leg overall during the pass, I do want it to end up more underneath the body. Probably around about there. And then the Z location for this one. Get rid of those. Just focus on the location. So it should be Z location here too, right? Okay, so on this pass it should be... Move around about here. Yeah, it seems to be in a weird position here, and the feet, like the back feet, are no longer touching the ground. So maybe the starting position for the back foot is fine, it's just the front foot that was being weird. So if I grab both these, if it will let me, that is. Oh wait, I was grabbing the wrong thing. So if I... even negative 0.2 here should be fine. Okay, cool. And then... this one here, I need to make sure that I duplicate it off to this side. So the movement stays consistent. Copy. And then Control Shift V. Nope, wrong position. Actually, it'd probably be easier if I just did this in Dope Sheet, huh? So there is the left IK here. We can do the funny trick of deleting all these. Shift V, and then 30. Grab all of these, ignoring those ones. G minus 15. And now we've got everything in the correct position. Okay, so the leg's not too bad, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. So, moving that along. Now I just need to figure out how I'm gonna keep the feet relatively consistent on the ground. Because the problem is, it seems like the first contact here, the foot's not even on the ground properly. In fact, I might even just try and... like, it's fine to have the heel up slightly, I just prefer it to be in a slightly better position. So, should do that over there. Copy that one, and then Control Shift V to there. And I should probably make sure that I duplicate that too. Make sure it stays consistent throughout the motion. Cool. So, I think I want to... the leg motion should be okay now, I think. Let's have a look at the other camera angles while I'm here. So, the front seems fine. What about the 3/4? Yeah, I mean, the animation's quite fast, but once you get around to, you know, slowing down / speeding up the animation, it shouldn't be so bad. I just animate it like this because I find it easier for my brain to work with. Now, good thing I caught this, because there was a really good possibility that I couldn't. But I have the wrong passing position for these. So I need to copy that. So it's the left here. I need to paste it into the right same position. What am I doing? Actually, that is... pass is fine. Is it just that this is... yeah, it does seem to be in the wrong position, I think. Oh, it's not, actually. My brain, as usual, trying to gaslight me. Yippee. Animated moment, I suppose. Now, do I want the up position to be any higher? Probably yes. Although, to be fair, it does kind of look good. So maybe just, like, a little bit higher up, but not so high. Control V, and looking at this now. Cool. Now, the body. I want this to be relatively low down. Now, this does introduce some rather interesting discrepancies. But as long as I keep the rotation fine. So if I just remove all the rotational keyframes, because there's no reason for those to be like that. And yeah, the feet actually do tend to stay more consistent while we're here. So it does actually move a bit better. Now my only concern now is because I've leaned the body over so much, I don't know if this would be classed as stable, like a stable middle point. I can probably use this one as a reference though. I need a good pass position. There, that's probably about as good as I'm gonna get. So, yeah, the body would be still leaned over. The leg is actually pretty central compared to the reference, so I don't think I'm too concerned about it. At least not for the time being. I should really just... what I should do, and I don't really want to do this because then chat's gonna see the dumb shit that I have to pull in order to animate stuff, is record myself doing these actions before doing streams, and then using those as reference. So that should be fine. Now, the thing with the body rotation is I actually do want this to move, like, I do want this to roll up and down. And something else I want to do too is there's going to be a fair bit of chest movement, I think. So there'd be a lot of follow through with this here rolling down, then this bone here, which would be the upper chest. So this one here would also be missing. Well, would be not missing. I was thinking it was missing just before. Would probably be following through on the overlap. So, hide those. Why are those two here? Go away. So, the motion would be the character is up, and then on the down motion, this would be rotated slightly. And then the upper chest would have a bit more rotation to it. And then the pass and up would probably not be too rotated, although this one here would probably just be a smidge more. So the hips don't really matter here. I do need to copy these keyframes though. So, the upper body's movement... Wait, where the fuck are half of my markers gone? I'm sorry? When did I delete those? It's hard to find good help these days. Good lord. Anyway. So, the hips are fine. They can just be keyframed like that. And then duplicate these two here, and then again to the contact. So there's no weird thing going on there. Duplicate those across. And then duplicate that one across. What is going on with the face? Why is that... Oh, I must not have removed those from the equation. In fact, like, why is that there? What are those? That seems to be shading from the mouth, actually, if I look at that correctly. Yeah, I think that's coming from the mouth. I don't know why it's... Oh, it might actually be a texture glitch. Because it's not showing in this mode. So for whatever reason, there's... weird pinching going on at the mouth. Like, anyone else see this? There's like a... right here. There's weird pinching going on at the junction, I assume, where the mouth meets the rest of the face. And it's just wigging out. I don't... Is it because I... It's not a clipping issue in the traditional sense, I don't think. Because there shouldn't be any objects there to clip into the face. Like, the only thing I could possibly think of is maybe the teeth, but those should be seated fairly far back in the skull. Yeah, those are seated pretty far back, so it can't be that either. Strange. Weird. Does it do it in rendered mode? I assume yes. Yeah, it does it in rendered mode. Okay, I'm going to turn on cycles for a moment here. Does it in cycles? I wonder if it's because I had this set to simplify. If I turned off simplify, does this... okay, so the subsurf prevents those weird issues from happening. That makes a lot more sense, so I should disregard most of those. Okay, cool. Good to know. So... You know what it kind of looks like? It looks like, if you've ever seen the videos of, like, people holding chickens or quails, and, like, they move the body and the head just stays in that one position in space, it just vaguely reminds me of that, his head at the moment. So that's pretty funny. Alright, so, unhiding all of that. I do want to do the next, so Control-I, and then hide all that. So... doing that, and duplicate that to the end. Duplicate that to the second contact point. And then... I probably want this to go down a bit further, actually. Okay, that should be alright. It kind of looks strange from the front, huh? Without any, like... Without any depth context, this just looks so strange. Like, it just looks like a movement, but just it seems wrong. Like, from the side and from 3/4, like, this looks perfectly fine. But from the front, there's no depth of which to speak, so there's no reference for movement. And that's what it looks like when you only have one functioning eyeball at any given time. Like, if you want an idea as to how it looks whenever you're dealing with only one eye, like, it just looks like this. You can see something is happening, but without any depth context, you can't tell if the guy's just foreshortened, if he's crouching, or like you're at a weird angle. You have no reference for how emotion looks. Like, you can see it perfectly fine on this side, and from 3/4 you can completely understand the motion just fine of what it's supposed to be. But from the front you have no context. That's actually kind of a cool example of how depth perception really affects the way something looks. Alright, so time to deal with the arms. And hide all that, because I only just want to deal with the arm at the moment. So, for context of the arms, I do need to do body motions first, actually. So, I need these, and I need that one there. No, not the jaw, the head motion. So, I do forget that motions are a thing that I have to, like, the twist and rotation is something I have to keep an eye on. So, looking at this is probably my best way of gauging the motion. So, it's literally just the same as walking, where the hip is tilted towards this side here. So, I wish there was a way that I could just use an application to just draw over my screen. It would make things so much easier. So, the hip lines up this way, and then the chest rolls down towards this way. So, that is the pass motion. I find it comical how far I can actually just twist this. So then that's... Actually, I should probably only twist that. Maybe 7. And then this is twisted towards the side as well. Then it's also twisted in the y-axis this way. So that should be good. And then the hips and upper body. Duplicate that. Actually, I need to Control-Shift B. And then this here needs to be copy that, and then Control-Shift B that. In fact, I wonder if... Didn't I have this issue before where, like, I had to move these on the down? Or actually, no, it was on the up that I had to move these two. So move that one and that one, and then the rotation for this one. So delete that. Ah, crap, what have I done? So I should be okay to move this one then? Same with this other side. Okay, it's become way too janky now. So I think that was a good initial position, but I think the turn is probably too sharp if it's moving that violently. Actually, you know what it is? It probably is the fact that it's the contact here. So the upper body rotation is here. So if I fix that up and remove those, yeah, that's a lot better now. Okay, that shouldn't be too bad. It's probably slightly over-rotated though. But with the arms being messed about with after I've done that, it should look fine. Alright, cool. So, if I just start messing about with the arms, I should be just about ready to go. Oh yeah, I do need to... I just need to make this motion happen too on here. So the neck rotation here. So I need to get rid of that scale. Those. Ah, actually, just the Z should be fine. Those. And then duplicate this. And paste it there. Except it doesn't really want to play ball. Why is it this? Copy that and then... of course it wouldn't. So if I minus that, there we go. I will need to do a little bit of overlap on this, but it is a lot better than it was. Alright, cool. So, I do need to do arms. Got all the overlap and whatnot that I can reasonably do without doing the arms. So, hide all those. And now it is time to do something about these. Alright, cool. Now that I've fixed that issue, I'm just looking at this here. The arms don't move a whole lot. So, what I'm noticing from the motion of this robot specifically is that the arms start basically close to the middle of the torso. And as the animation progresses, it moves out. Probably the furthest is where the knee goes upwards. So in my case, it would start from here. And then the furthest out it goes is around here, which should be fine. Is it consistent like that across all motions? Like this one here has a pretty flowing follow through, but the arms don't move much. And considering I'm going to be doing like Minecraft characters, it is going to be slightly more cartoonish, I think. I think, like, this is a really good walk, as I said before. It's a really good reference for legs, but for arms, I think it's too exaggerated. Like, I feel as though, like, it's funny in a goofy way, and it would work in, like, a cartoonish style. But because I'm trying to aim for something bordering on the line of semi-realistic motion, I think this would probably be my best bet. So, I shall do just that. So, the first one I want to do here is arm motion here. So, copy that. In fact, I might even just relax this a tiny smidge. So, copy that and then Control V that. So, these should just be contact pose, and then this contact here where the opposite leg is forward is where I want this to be the most exaggerated. I think that's okay. So on the poses here, so this is like an extremely good reference. Like, the arms seem to move almost before the leg does. Like, it reaches the forward position sooner than the leg comes up. And then the arm stays stable there. Do I want that for this particular animation? Actually, I wonder if there's a way, like, by default to play this at half speed. I'm gonna try bringing it up sooner. And then on the down, I do want this to extend back a bit. So on the down, it overshoots, and then when it goes back here, I do want this to actually be curled more. So like this here, I want this to be more straight. Which is not a sentence you'd normally hear me say. And then here, I do want this to be creased more. In fact, I think the position of this just a little bit more. I feel like it just needs to be more creased. In fact, maybe I want to move the rotation position to be here. So if I do this, it almost looks like he's whenever I do these animations, it almost looks like his other arm is just broken. He's just trying not to move it. So on this motion here, I do want the... Actually, I'm going to move the arms out. So... Seems like by default, the arms are actually turned outwards. So, duplicating this. So yeah, having the arm in this position just makes it so it doesn't clip through. So then when it goes down, I want the arm to clip closer. Like, I want the arm to be closer in general to the body. And then widen out here. Not by much, but like 3 degrees. And then it stays in that position. What's that? And then, yeah. So then if I grab all these and copy them, paste them, alright, so that should be good. Okay, something strange is going on there. What is happening? Is it because it's returning too soon and... Oh, that's like in a really weird position actually. That should not be. Okay, that does need to be in a different position. Do I think the body's twisting too much? Maybe. Or in fact, I think maybe the hips need to be placed differently in this case. Okay, yeah, that's moved way too much actually. So if I... maybe only move it 3 degrees this time. What is going on with the hand? The hand is twitching. What is going on here? Like, ignoring that for a second, can I see what's going on here? There is scale, which does not belong in this lot. Whatever reason, the Y is wigging out. Okay, so it's not the Y rotation that's doing it. There's something here that's flipping the fuck out. What is it? The Z rotation is also not the way that I'd expect it to be. Okay, so something's going on with either the W or the X that's just freaking the fuck out for no reason. Where is that coming from? There. The speed that that's going at is... ah, okay, so it must be the X rotation. So the motion from here to here... so it's... on the up? I do not understand why it's doing this. What have I done here? It just flicks backwards before being on the contact. Oh, actually, what happened here? Because there was supposed to be a motion all the way to the front on the contact. How is that? How has that ended up there? Yeah, that's strange. So that's not meant to be there yet. I'll deal with the hand in just a moment. I don't know why the arm is acting so strange, though. Yeah, it's just jerking forward at that point. When that's supposed to actually be in that area. Okay, so... location-wise, like, these don't need to exist in this moment. Okay, so for whatever reason, the entire forward motion on that movement there is just not working as intended. So the X motion, which is this one here, I believe, that it should not be there. And then the immediate backwards definitely does not want to be there. Okay, so that should be... yeah, mostly fixed. Now, I just need to figure out what's going on with the hand, because that is being a little bit janky. So I think it's solely the X rotation that's causing this weirdness here. So this actually should probably be... basically non-existent, I think. Actually, this should be higher up. So that should be like that, and then moving backwards into this down motion, this should be higher up. And it should stay like that until this motion here pulls it down. And then this here needs to be scaled upwards. And then like here. So this should stay like that. In fact, I should actually just duplicate this one across. And then grabbing these. Okay, it's a little bit glitchy. So maybe these need to start out a bit sooner. Like a little bit more bent. That, so that should... Okay, and we have that now. Okay, that should be fine. I mean, there's a little bit of clipping issue here, but as far as, like, full animations go, it's not terrible. Like, if I really want to be that pedantic about it, I can do it in my spare time. Alright, let's try copying all this over to the other arm. Copy that. Alt-H. And then this slot here. This is going to be an instance of paste that. Then duplicate this. 15, and then this should be good to go. Okay, maybe the arms are actually flinging forward slightly too far. Now that I've got better perspective with both arms moving, like, their arm movement's probably far too far forward. No matter, that should be a relatively easy fix. Alright, so I'll just go with this side because it's easier for me to work with. So probably that much motion on their arms is probably better. H and like those, and the arm motion should just be like this. Now, hopefully, yeah, that works a lot better. Does this look back too much? Probably not. Let's see how it looks in other angles. I'm sorry, like, the front views without, like, any expression, it's just so comically funny to me, and I don't know why. Like, it just looks so strange. Alright, let's see. Probably follow through motion. Actually, I just want to take a close look at this for just a moment. Legs should be fine, I think. Yeah. The only weird thing about these specific models is the fact that there's so many gaps in them. I'm pretty sure there's a second model. Let's see if I can find it. It should be under... Is it this? Did I throw... Where did I throw this file? There's like a second Minecraft model that I downloaded like a while ago. Is it under resources? It should be. Project files. Is it under the Minecraft related? Nope, it's just all my work. Let's have a look in the models. I forget what the guy's called. Minecraft, James see. Video game models, animations. Might be on the animation. No, it's not on the animation folders. Yeah, there's like a if I find it, I'll show you guys. I'll just like look a little bit longer. But there's a file where there's like I have a second Minecraft character file, but for the life of me, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure all the limbs are actually connected to the body in this case. There is the render library, guides, texture materials. I swear to fuck, it's around here somewhere. Yeah, I can't find it. It was one that I found on YouTube though, but all the limbs were connected, like the arms were connected to the shoulders, the legs were connected to the hips. Like, it was actually a pretty good model, but I found it to be too obnoxious to work with, if that makes sense. Like, I prefer animating with this one because it's generic and I can just swap out the skins for anything. But the other one, it was really wonky. Like, it had really specific ways to animate it. Like, you had to have the animated, like, the, model in the file, and then you had to import the rest of your project into the file. You couldn't just import the model into your project. And I don't know why it's designed like that. It seems really strange. Anyway, I want to probably do the legs now. Like, do the swing outs. So I'll do that. So I want the default ones to like have quite a wide stance here. Like, not egregiously wide, but just wide enough. Like, I want there to be an obvious movement here. So, like, 0.5 meters should be fine. Because, like, it just provides enough of motion there. And then... So, the X location... Yeah. I should just be able to... Yeah, delete all these. Delete all that. I'll just make this one be the default for the moment while I just sort these out. And then duplicate those. So now it should just be a bit silly, but it will work for what I'm doing here. So then here on the pass, I want this to be swung in. Except here, I want the location IK to stay consistent while the motion's going down. And then on the contact, I want this to just be in the same position again. In fact, maybe 0.05 is a bit much. So, duplicate that to reposition now. And then do the same for the other side. Okay, and duplicate this. Yeah, I think the torso is still over-rotated a bit, but I'll have to deal with that some other time. So, grab this slot, here, go to the other foot, and in contact here, I can just Control-Shift-V. Except it doesn't want to do that, apparently. Okay, so that needs to be like that. And then these ones here need to be pasted to the side. Oh. Sorry? I must have been off by one frame when I copied those. Copy, and then I forgot to duplicate that one. So it's probably like that on both of them now. So this one here, just duplicate that across. There we go, that's a bit better. So I got the foot swinging now. So the only other major thing I need to do is just readjust that hip and torso positioning. So this here. So that's -3 on that one. Now this should be a more reasonable position, I think. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. And then that's the front view, that's the side view. Yeah, I think it was like comically over twisted before, and that's just why it looked that weird. But yeah, that should be fine. I could probably do with a little bit of overlap on the head, but I probably need to do that some other time. Alright, so save that. And throw up the ending screen because I am done here. That wasn't too bad today though. I got another reference over and done with. And I figured that sneaking would be a rough animation to do, but it doesn't seem to be too bad, so I can't complain too hard. Do I have any raid to the Twitch side? No one knew, that's for sure. Alright, so I shall end off like that. I am going to go and take a walk and stretch my very stiff legs. I shall see y'all tomorrow.